Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Good morning. Welcome on in. DJ and PK on this Friday. Today's DJ's last day off. He will be back on Monday. Well, we had some football to talk about, particularly for BYU yesterday, as we were all down at their media golf tournament and had an opportunity to talk to some players and coaches and do all that fun stuff, and it was a good time. And maybe we might tell you a little bit later who actually won the golf tournament. Can you believe now, 50 years, what they're doing now is they're celebrating the 1976 football season. Oh, wow. And one of those guys is a local guy named Kelly Harris. He played offensive line for Giff Nielsen and talked about the differences between the program today and the program then, and weightlifting, what weightlifting was about back then, and how they introduced Nautilus. It had just come out. You know those machines you see at the gym. It was revolutionary at the time. So Riley Jensen, who's been sitting in all week, and I talked to Kelly Harris, talking about all that stuff that went on then and what's going on now. Here you go. Joining us now is Kelly Harris from the 1976 team. Let's put that down by your mouth there so we can hear you. All right. 50 years ago, you played BYU football, Mr. Harris. Can you believe it's been 50 years?
Long time ago. It's I have to kind of just look around and be thankful for it that on this side of the ground.
There you go. You're standing upright. What do you remember 50 years ago about BYU football and compare it to how huge it is today?
Well, I mean, I was in Lavelle's first recruiting class, so it was all new territory. I had known Tommy Hudspeth because he had a son that played high school ball with us at Provo High School. But it's nothing like it was back then, which is good. Look at the progress that's happened over the years. And it's nice to feel like you were part of something that grew it that way.
Oh, yeah, to levels that might be considered unimaginable for some people. I don't know about you, Kelly. Kelly Harris from the 1976 team joining us. When Coach Edwards was going through his retirement, he announced it early in August during training camp that season would be his last season. So a lot of questions, and I was a sports writer for the Salt Lake Tribune at the time, so I was covering the team at that point, and he was getting a lot of questions about, what memories he's going to have. And and he said it consistently. He always said the same thing when anybody would ask him the question. The thing that he was most proud of, it's hard to remember all the wins and all the experiences, right? But he said that the thing that he was most proud of is that he made Saturdays in Provo, Utah, and the surrounding area, he made it an experience. Game day for BYU football became an event where it hadn't been. Is that something that you were able, and those were in the early days, to be able to experience?
It still is. Yeah. I mean, to be part of that, and it was always something special. But to see where it's progressed from in 76 to where it is now, there's nothing comparative except the feeling. The feeling is still there. And it was always kind of just a magical time on a Saturday afternoon, most of the time back then.
Yeah.
You played. I believe you played offensive line. Is that correct?
Yes, offensive tackle.
See, this is why I like you already. But I like to inflict a little bit of pain on my cohort here. Do you remember the Arizona State game where you're down 21-10 and then stormed back to win?
So they had to pick the 76 team.
Tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about
Devils in Provo.
Beating down the Sun Devils. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was huge. I mean, that was really our signature game from that year, and really propelled us into a situation to be bowl eligible and to then eventually go to the Tangerine Bowl. So,
right. And in all seriousness, I was a huge fan growing up here in the state of Utah. Now, I was only 2 in 1976, so I don't remember
that
you
really
as well.
Makes me feel good.
But my earliest, my earliest memories are like Mark Wilson and Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
But Gifford, I mean, Gary Scheide gets a lot of credit, but Gifford was kind of the one that really started to give the name to the BYU quarterback.
For sure.
What was it like playing with him? Was he everything that everybody says?
Gifford and I grew up together. We played against each other in flag football starting in the 4th grade. But then in junior high, where we came together, we did all sports all year, went to Provo High, played together. There were actually 5 or 6 of us off our high school team our senior year that ended up going to BYU and playing, which it was not a pact, but we kind of all decided that would be a fun thing to do together. And so, yeah, I've known Gifford forever. In fact, I just talked to him 20 minutes before I got here. He's down in St. George today, but
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kalani Sitake. He is a true disciple in virtually every sense of the word of Lavelle Edwards. They'd had a couple of coaches that were not so-called BYU guys. They weren't Lavelle Edwards guys. They didn't play for him. And so now you have a direct connection for somebody like you who played for him. And now here we are 50 years later, and you have somebody who played for him, would have been, probably 15, 20 years after that. What does it mean to so-called have a BYU guy running the program for people like you who went to Provo High, played at BYU? You're obviously a BYU guy through and through.
Yeah, it's special, and it feels right. That's not taken away from any of the other coaches that have been here, but
right.
But it just feels right, and Kalani has embraced a lot of the things that remind me of the way Lavelle approached things, which were not the same. I mean, I think prior coaching staffs were trying to differentiate themselves rather than embrace the past. Yeah. And I really feel like Kalani's done that.
Yeah.
I think just personally watching Kalani for that one semester I was at BYU, the one thing I can say about Kalani, lifting was optional under Coach Lavelle. It was really surprising to me because every other place I'd been, if you weren't in the weight room, he just kind of treated you guys like men. One of the guys that was always there was Kalani Sitake. Yeah. Every time I went to the weight room, every time I was working out, Kalani was there. And he's such a hard worker, and I think he really looked up to and even emulates today Coach Lavelle. But I think one of his best talents is to be able to connect his team from 1996, that was such a great team, the past, the future, and he's just a great ambassador. But he's also a really good recruiter and a really good football coach.
It's funny you mentioned the weightlifting, and when you say it was optional with Lavelle, yeah, they'd kind of point and say, "There's the weight room."
Right.
I mean, there was no conditioning, weightlifting coach or anything like that. But my junior year, the 76 year, they purchased Nautilus equipment, and the only other program in the whole country was Miami, the University of Miami, that had Nautilus equipment. It was a new thing. And there was a circuit of about 10 machines that you'd roll through. And boy, was it scheduled. You had your time that you checked in at the door. There was a coach there that checked your name off. There was a coach at every station monitoring your lift. And it really changed at that point as far as how weightlifting became part of the program. And it certainly grew from there, but that was really the start.
That wasn't until your junior year.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, I probably didn't lift a weight until I got to BYU, and in high school,
Yeah.
there were a few weights in the wrestling room that you never went in. You want to stay as far away from the wrestling mat.
Yeah, because they're going to make you run.
Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy to think of.
Yeah.
That there's been that much advancement and how important. Now you go to high schools and they have massive weight rooms. They look like college weight rooms.
The weight rooms in any high school program, probably 4A or up in the state of Utah, is bigger than what we used to have at BYU.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to see that. You okay with BYU has made a massive investment into the football program. As a media member, I love it to see how that's going down.
Yeah, I mean it's fun, it's exciting, it generates a lot of fan interest. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you talking with us this morning as you, I guess they're honoring the 50-year team.
Yeah, if I can just shout out any of teammates from that 76 team, we're looking for you. We've got a dinner and a game on the 11th and 12th of September. Reach out to us and let us know if you want to come.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, BK. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. That was Kelly Harris. Now, we got a current player we want to get to. And BYU, a lot of expectations coming up, particularly the offensive line. Andrew Gentry is coming up next. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, man. We want to tell you about what we were doing yesterday at BYU. Had a golf tournament down at Timpanogos. Maybe not the best course, but nevertheless, a good time was had by all. And before the tournament, we talked to one of the starting offensive linemen, Andrew Gentry. We'll get to that right now. The funny thing is, everybody knew about you, and Jim Harbaugh recruited you. We all remember that story, blah, blah, blah. And you leave Michigan, and then a bunch of guys from Utah, the state of, go to Michigan.
Yep.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, for me, I feel like it's a pretty surreal, almost full circle moment, right? To be at the University of Michigan for 3 years where there was no Utah connections, no connections to the church, nothing like that of the sort out in Michigan. So you're really you're different out there, right? You're definitely in a different world. And then, to come to BYU to make the connections with Coach Hill, with Coach Gifford, all these different people. And then all of a sudden they shift to go to Michigan, right? Yeah. And they're in that new world. And I remember having conversations with Coach Hill after he had taken the job and him discussing some things with me that he had seen at Michigan, even just members of the church out there that he had known now and all the connections that I had made out there. So it was cool to see that aspect of things. And it's kind of crazy to look over there now and talk to my old Michigan teammates and they're like, oh, yeah, your old defensive coordinator's now coaching me. And so kind of a full circle crazy moment for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So here you are at BYU starting offensive lineman. Expectations, I would think that's something that you would embrace because obviously they're extremely high, and I think you'd rather have that than not.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a great spot, and I think the cool thing and the shift from this year is you look back at BYU over the past few years and expectations are not very high in a lot of standards, right? Whether that be as a team, as an offensive line, whatever it is. And now to come into the season with expectations high is a great thing. Either way, to us, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, what the media says, what people are saying about you, it doesn't matter because all that matters is how you play on a Saturday. But it's great to be able to show up and to have these expectations because pressure's a privilege and we'll rise to the occasion.
So as an offensive lineman, I'm just thinking for all the young quarterbacks that are out there, right? I think you've mentioned that, Bear just garners instant respect.
Yeah.
What is it that you're looking for as an offensive lineman in a quarterback when you're looking for that leadership? What is it that you like to see? What is it that you think stands out about Bear in particular? And then what do you think with the great quarterbacks you played with that helps them to be on your level or someone that you want to play with and be around?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, as an offensive lineman, our main goal is to always have the quarterback's back, right? To make sure that no matter what situation, we're protecting him and that's our job, right? Is to protect the quarterback, protect the running backs, do everything we can to protect them. So from a quarterback's perspective, I love it when you know that they have your back as well. Because I've had some quarterbacks, I've played with some quarterbacks in the past where that's not necessarily the case. And
it's just all about them.
It's all about them, yeah. An offensive lineman makes a mistake and they're going to just chew out the offensive lineman really fast. And so one thing I love about Bear is, obviously, we're never going to play perfect, right? As a whole team, it's never going to be perfect. We try really hard to be as close as we can, and we're going to protect Bear with everything we have. But at the end of the day, if somebody makes a mistake, somebody gets beat, Bear's not just going to turn and start chewing out the offensive line. I mean, there's never been a quarterback that's gone a season with 0 sacks, right? And hopefully we can be the first this year. But, that's just not how the game of football works. But when you can have a quarterback that is going to have your back, that's not just going to turn his back on the O-line, that's what I love, right? Because then you know that you can trust him, he can trust you, and then it just makes things so much smoother.
Andrew Gentry, returning starter on the offensive line for the BYU Cougars, joining us here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Also, too, we expect a lot out of Bear because this is his second year, but you have the returning offensive player of the year coming back in LJ Martin. That's got to be something that you look forward to, opening some holes for him. Oh,
absolutely. And that's the great thing about having a great running back is it opens everything up. When I played at Michigan on that national championship team, we had Blake Corum in our backfield, and you have Donovan Edwards in the backfield as well. And so when you have weapons like that, it forces the defense to be honest, and then it makes great quarterbacks as well, and vice versa, right? When you can have a great rushing attack and a great passing attack, which we will have this year, it opens up so much because the defense has to play you honestly. They have to bring guys up to stop the run, and then we'll throw it over their heads. They have to play guys back because we've got great receivers and a great quarterback, and then we can run the ball for 6-7 yards with LJ all the time. And so it's just an incredible duo to have back there of a great passing game with Bear and our wide receiver core, and then with LJ back there. It's going to be a great year for us.
We were talking yesterday a little bit about the BYU offense and how much you can open up the playbook and not. And I kind of feel like it depends on your players, and it depends on, early in the season, you push some of those limits to see what you can do. Is there anything different about this offense this year? Is there anything different that you guys think that you'll be able to do offensively, both as a line? First, answer that as a lineman and with your group, and then answer it a little bit more broad with the offense.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the O-line this year is there's a lot of cohesion from last year. We all know how to play with each other. We know each other's strengths, each other's weaknesses, and so there's a lot of trust that, one of the great things in offensive line that I've seen is when you don't have to say anything, but you just know what the guy next to you is going to do. It helps you play so much faster. And so as an offensive line, maybe not as much that we're trying new things this year, but we can play so much faster that I think we can call a lot of plays that might be tricky for a new offensive line to run, but because all of us have starting experience, whether that's at BYU or at different schools, and all of us have played together for a while, we're going to be able to play so much faster and so much quicker. And then I think as an offense, that's just the case in general as well. I mean, just like we talked about, it's Bear's second year. I mean, LJ is the best running back in the country. And so we just have so many different options that we can play together and do different things. So, but at the end of the day, it's still football, right? And we've had a lot of success as an offense of what we've done and what A-Rod has drawn up. So, without giving too much away, I don't think we're going to change too much up, right? Just because, what works, you don't want to change up. But at the same time, I'm sure that we're going to open up the playbook a little bit just to utilize our strengths of what we have this year.
What's interesting is, you hear that players and coaches, they're not interested in any preseason polls. They're not interested in any media opinions about what is said about them. Maybe they might use it as motivation if it's negative, but that's not the case with BYU this year. There's very little that's being said that's negative. So that's over here, but at the same time, you guys know what your expectations are. And so since you 2 years ago tied for the regular season, didn't get in on a tiebreaker. Last year you got in. We know you lost to Texas Tech. So now it's basically a conference title game, maybe even playoff or bust. I mean, that's what I got to believe you guys are thinking. But at the same time, how do you keep your focus to make sure, because that's still 3-4 months away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a process, right? It's a process-driven team. It's a process-driven sport. And so every day you have to look at it as, what am I doing today to become the best version of myself? And that's what we look at BYU. That's what Kalani preaches. That's what all of our coaches preach, is every single day doing the little things that are going to make you the best. But at the same time, you have to have the vision that that's what you're going for. And for us, our vision is a national championship. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we want to do, right? And that needs to be talked about. That needs to be said, because if you don't believe it, then nobody believes it, right? If you don't believe that you're going to do it, then you've already lost. And so for us, we full-heartedly believe that we can win the national championship and that we can go win the Big 12, be in the playoff, and then go win. Because that's what we've been working for. That's what we want to do. So yes, at the same time, you do have to stay focused on the process. So right now, our process is, let's go have a great fall camp so we can beat Utah Tech week 1. And so that is our focus, because if we don't do that, then we're never going to reach any of our goals. But at the same time, yeah, we're always talking about how we want to go win a national championship.
I like that thought process. I always tell the teams that I work with, the athletes that I work with in sports psychology, if you don't have a vision that you can be an all-conference player or an all-American player, and if you don't, as a team, have that thought process that you can win a national championship, well, then I can give you the Riley Jensen guarantee that comes with a warranty that you won't.
Right.
Like, you're never going to win it if you can't see yourself doing that. I want to ask you just a technical question. This might be a little bit too geeky for some of our listeners, but when you guys make calls for protection, is it your quarterback that calls it, or is it the linemen that are calling the protection calls at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So, I mean, we have a bunch of different protections that we already have in our playbook, right? That will be part of the call when we get the play call. And so that'll tell us if it's a 5-man protection, 6-man, 7-man protection, whatever it is. Then from there, it's on us as a line. And so
the line does it.
The line does it from there.
I just know from playing that, a 4-4 front is different than a 4-3 because a lot of times the center has to work to the left or work to the right based on the running back.
Exactly.
So when that happens, you get a 4-4 look or an even look, your center is the one making the call to left. Exactly. See, because I always liked it when I called it as a quarterback, because if I miss the call and my jaw gets knocked off, I'm not going to miss that call again.
Right.
If the offensive line misses it, they'll help you up, and they feel bad, but they might miss it again. So I always put it on the quarterbacks instead of the linemen to make the right call.
Well, it's a good thing when we have Bruce Mitchell playing center because he doesn't miss very often. He's pretty good at getting us in the right spot, and that's the other thing, too, is we've got a lot of veterans on the O-line, too, that we help each other out, and Bruce is the one making the call 99% of the time. But when we can help him out with that 1% to shift it, and at the end of the day, Bear can override anything. So there are times where Bear will get up there and he can override a protection, but 95% of the time it's Bruce making that call and us helping him out.
That's kind of fun. I just love that part of the game. It's the chess game, right?
No doubt.
And then there's always the little tandem calls that you guys are making with the guard and the tackle. Like,
oh, yeah.
You'll see a corner coming off, and you're like, hey, I'm going out to this guy. You got to slide out here. I mean, there's just people don't understand how much talking is going on between those 5 guys up front.
It's a lot.
And then Bear has to time it out and snap the ball, and you guys all have to then go in the right place.
100%.
It happens so fast.
It does. It's a whirlwind that you got to be ready for, and that's why film is important. And Coach Woods does such a good job of that communication piece and teaching us the game so you can make those calls and play confidently.
It's the best chess game in the world.
No doubt about it.
And here I thought, and I played freshman football in high school, I thought you just have to knock the guy in front of you on his butt and you're good to go.
Well, there is some real truth to that too, though.
There is.
As much as we want to complicate it, it's still about blocking and tackling.
100%. That's what it is. Just beating the guy in front of you, and you can win your one-on-one matchup.
Yep.
Then you'll do pretty solid.
Andrew Gentry, offensive lineman for BYU. Did I say Jensen? Gentry.
You did. I'm Jensen.
Riley Jensen.
He's
You're
Gentry.
Hey, it's great. Thank you guys so much.
I want to throw one more at you. You already talked about Bruce as your center, and I was going to hit that, but you guys took it in depth way better than I could anyway. And you got Utah Tech as a non-conference game. And normally the way the schedule plays is that you play your 3 non-conference games, then you get into conference. But because of the Notre Dame game, that is in October 17th, I think it is. Everything had to be jumbled around. So you get Arizona, which had a phenomenal season last year. You get them in first conference game, which is only in the second week, and then you play some conference games. Then you go back into non-conference with a national power. Obviously, you lived in the Midwest. You know all about Notre Dame, I'm sure, and all that they have involved there. Just speak to the schedule of how you get a big-time conference matchup, 1:30 on national television at home in week 2, and then you got to play, and then you got to go regroup, get a non-conference game and all that, because it's a little unusual.
Yeah, definitely unusual, definitely different, but at the same time, we've been trained for this. Our strength coaches do a great job of keeping us on our toes in summer workouts even, to the point where we know that change is inevitable, right? That it's going to be different. It's not always going to be smooth. So I'm excited for it. I mean, because you got to be in mid-season form by the time week 2 rolls around.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
by the time week 1 rolls around, right? I mean, playing Utah Tech, and then my best friend is the right tackle at Arizona, so I know how good they are. He is, yeah. So
how'd that work out?
We played at Michigan together.
Oh, cool.
And then we both transferred at the same time. He went to Arizona, I went to BYU, so now it's fun that we get to, we had the time at Michigan together to be teammates, and now it's playing for bragging rights, and I'm up 1-0 on him, so trying to make it 2-0
The
on
good
him.
part is in that rivalry is that you guys are playing at different times, so you can make fun of him while he's playing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Really?
I can
really?
chirp
That's
him on
your
the
best
field.
set right there?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, Andrew, I am an ASU grad, so you must win that game.
There we go. Let's do it. We can do that.
I'm going to ask just one thing.
Yeah.
Just beat the Cats on the second week of the season. I
And
think
beat down the Sun Devils, because I can't stand it when they win. Just being around PK
We're not
when they
gonna
win
talk
is
about
obnoxious.
that game. We're not going to talk
Beat
about
them
that game.
down.
We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And you a golfer?
I like to swing it a little bit. I wouldn't call myself a great golfer, but I can hit them.
Did you get an opportunity to play Barton Hills there in Ann Arbor?
I never got a chance to play there. I played on the UMich course a ton, though, right there.
Okay, yeah. That's a country club. I've played golf with Whittingham a bunch, and I know wants to play there. And that course, I think, opened like 1911.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's some golf history out there for sure.
Yeah. All right. That was Andrew Gentry. Now, what about the guy calling the shots? All right, calling the shots once the team gets out on the field. Just heard Andrew talk about how the offense, you got the center, Bruce Mitchell, but that ultimately the play call, if it's to be changed, any adjustments that they need to be making at the line of scrimmage boils down to the quarterback. Well, Riley Jensen played quarterback in college for Utah State and on Snow College, and we're going to talk about that coming up next as far as what Bear Bachmeier can do. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, welcome on in on this Friday. Well, Bear Bachmeier is a sophomore. And what's it going to be? What's going to be some of his changes that we might see? What type of improvement? Or they're just going to do a lot of the same stuff. Give the ball to L.J. Martin, let him go. He was Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 12 last year. Why would you not use him, obviously? So we're going to talk some quarterbacks, particularly Bear Bachmeier going into his sophomore season with Riley Jensen. And here you go. Talking about quarterbacks. And talking about Underwood there at Michigan and how he was a starter as a first-year freshman. And what did you say? He had 11 touchdowns and 8 picks. And he's going to have to be better this year. And you believe he will be. Well, certainly he's going to have to be with that awesome powerhouse schedule that they've got that Michigan faces this year. And that's the same situation with Bear Bachmeier. He comes in as a first-year freshman, and we know what he does. And this year, I relate it back to when Aaron Roderick was on our air, offensive coordinator for BYU, and he was talking about the increased expectations for Retzlaff from his junior year to his senior year. Now we know he had the other issues off the field there, so his senior year didn't materialize at BYU. But Aaron had set some extremely high standards for Retzlaff going into his senior year in terms of completion percentage and whatnot. Now, what do you think that, and you know Aaron Roderick pretty well, his level of expectation would be for Bear Bachmeier going into his second year as a full-time starter?
Well, I one of the things that I think is interesting about Bear Bachmeier, like just recently, he had like a Mount Rushmore tweet of his favorite, they interviewed him, I think, at Big 12 Days.
Big 12 Media Days, yeah, you're right.
They asked who the Mount Rushmore was. It's all running quarterbacks. It's Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
It's Cam Newton. It's Johnny Manziel. It's the only true passer in there was Joe Burrow, and he was the last one. Right?
Joe Burrow actually has been working with Underwood in the offseason there for Michigan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is the next level thing for Bear, and Bear, God, watching Bear play quarterback, he's one of the most unique. He's a really unique quarterback to me in the sense that he's built like a linebacker. He kind of walks like his gait
his
is his numbers are linebacker.
I understand he dropped some weight this year,
but he's not your typical quarterback, and he loves to run the ball. I think A-Rod would like to just have I think if A-Rod could draw it up perfectly, he'd call for Bear to run on 4 to 6 plays, and then Bear would scramble on 4 to 6 plays. That would get him between 10 and 12 run plays. Well, 8 and 12 is really what I think it would be. And 8 and 12 runs a game would be much more comfortable for A-Rod than some of the games where they've been in a rivalry game and he's running it 20 times, because they got to keep him healthy. The other thing that I think, and I know that I've said this ad nauseum, so please forgive me if you've heard me say this before, but I think the biggest part of growth when you're playing college quarterback is you have to understand the moving parts in the middle of the field. The easiest throw to make when you first come into college football, right, is a fade down the sideline. It's a rollout and throwing an out. It's an out to the closest hash mark. It is a screen pass. It's those bubble routes. Those are all easy. He throws those really well. He has the arm strength to make any throw that he needs to make. But one of the things that I noticed in the 2 Texas Tech games that were disturbing to me is when he threw over the middle, I'm almost positive, and I haven't asked A-Rod this, so I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost positive that Aaron was actually having to tag who he was throwing to, because they were taking away all the outside throws and the streak balls. And they're like, no, we're going to make you read the middle of the field, and you've got to figure out how to do it. And he threw some costly interceptions in those games. And he had some accuracy issues because he wasn't as confident as he could be in the middle of the field. So when you're talking about young quarterbacks making growth and growing into the quarterback that you want him to be, that's where I think he's got to get a lot better. Is he's got to be able to make the throw over the top of a linebacker and in between a safety. He's got to be able to make a whip linebacker who's like the weak outside linebacker's life just miserable, because if he drops back, I'm going to hit the underneath. If he comes up, I'm going to hit the guy over the top. If he blitzes, I'm going to hit the guy right behind him that's running a slant. He's got to be able to throw over the middle with a little bit more intentionality and deliberateness. Now look, anybody can go watch the film and they go, well, I can show you where he threw. Yes, but it's not comfortable. There are some throws that he's made, and he's making that effort, but it's got to be a lot better this year for them to take the step that they want to take.
So how do you get that? I mean,
more reps, film study, working with A-Rod to understand what it is that you're trying to do on each play. Like, what do you really want from me on this? Now, that's where I think the consistency of A-Rod being in that program for longer and longer and longer now is.
Oh, yeah. He's been there many years now.
I mean, look, I played for 4 different offensive coordinators in 4 different years when I was in college.
That had to help.
No. I mean, it helped. I'll tell you where.
Some variety in life.
No, well, I'll tell you where it did help me is I have a lot of breadth and I have a lot of knowledge about offenses, because I had a guy by the name of Chico Canales, who coached in the NFL, coached at NC State. He was my contact that got me to NC State. I played for Ed Larson, who was the 3-time state champion down at Lehigh, best offensive coordinator I've ever had. I played for Bob Petrino at Utah State before he was falling off motorcycles. And then and Norm Chow when I was at BYU, and then for Dave Arslanian. So I actually had 5 offensive coordinators, now that I'm naming them off, all really, really good. So it gives you some breadth. It doesn't give you any depth. So the key with A-Rod being there is that he's getting the depth of like what this offense can be. Mm-hmm. So I see him making those steps this year, but he also has to make those steps. So, but I don't see that as pressure. Like me going out on the microphone here and saying, hey, Bear Bachmeier has to be better over the middle of the field. I don't think he would listen to that and go, wow, this guy's being a real jerk to me. I think he'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to take my game to the next level. And then the next part of what I'm talking about here that's really, really important that keeps the chains moving on drives. That keeps you on the field longer as an offense. It keeps you in this ability to keep these big playmakers off the field in the Big 12. And you're driving to score a touchdown on a field goal instead of going 3 or 6 and out.
Yeah.
And now you're giving the ball back to some big-time players on the other team that can score points against you.
Do you think that Aaron Roderick unleashes the playbook? I mean, we expect that, but I'm wondering if that really happens. Because you can't go into it and be reckless just because you're a second-year starter. you haven't
No,
necessarily proven it yet.
No, I think every year when you're an offensive coordinator, I've done offensive coordinating in some way, shape, or form for like almost my whole life, at least since college, right?
Yeah.
You put in what a quarterback can handle, and you put in what your receivers can handle, because like there's certain things some receivers can do. Like every once in a while, you have a really, really cerebral wide receiver that it doesn't matter what defense they throw, whether they have a 2-high defense, a 1-high defense, a man-to-man defense, they know exactly what route they should run and how they should run it to get open. Every once in a while you get those. But there's teams where you have really, really physical and athletic wide receivers who can't read a defense, and so everything has to be scripted for them. And that makes the offense a little clunky in the passing game sometimes when you don't have guys that are cerebral wide receivers. And I don't know the wide receivers personally down there. I know they've lost a bunch of wide receivers. I'm hoping that there's a couple of cerebral ones. They don't have to, and those guys that I'm talking about that are cerebral, they don't have to be the biggest burner. It's like, I just spaced his last year, number 2 for BYU.
Chase Roberts,
very cerebral. Wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't a burner, wasn't the guy that like could get behind every defense. Very cerebral and could find the holes in the defense to get himself open and make himself really, really valuable. Very cerebral receiver. Do they have somebody like that this year? I hope so. But all of that has to be taken into account for A-Rod when he's deciding to open up the playbook or not. Is LJ Martin healthy? Is he running the ball effectively? Is the offensive line opening holes for him? And there's a lot of things that go into whether you really open up the playbook.
Yeah, because that's what I'm wondering, because they've got the situation where they got Martin, who was the offensive player of the year last year in the Big 12, which says something to me. That says a lot.
Why do we not talk about him enough?
Because it focuses so much on the quarterback, but I get your point. This kid, and I love the way he runs. He runs so smooth, man. He's not really a herky-jerky guy, man. He just looks like he's gliding as he runs.
He's really good. My brother and I were talking about BYU football the other day, and he brought up LJ. He's like, why doesn't anybody talk about LJ? And I actually think it's because he makes things look so easy and smooth.
Yeah, I think he does.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, he makes hard runs look
He's
really easy.
He's a glider, not a runner. The way he moves, his body seems to always be under control, and his personality is like that. The guy has no flamboyance to him whatsoever. He's for a star, he's about as low key as it comes. You're dealing with guys like they had Jamal Williams. The guy, I mean, that guy is, and he was great, no doubt about it. Played many years in the NFL.
However,
but he's in flamboyant as they come.
Yeah, how many guys are going to compare the story of the Good Samaritan to the Bloods and the Crips?
Yeah,
that's Jamal Williams.
I mean, he was a great interview. Always a smile, always laughing. Reminds me of a Devin Dampier, only more over the top than Devin. Devin is a great interview too. He's always on top. He's always on his game, and he's always in a great mood. Life is great. I'm getting paid to play quarterback at the University of Utah. What more do I want? And he's just a charismatic guy. Jamal Williams was that way too, at a higher level. You talk to LJ, and he'll give you good answers, but he's so
not flamboyant.
calm. No, but it's so reflective of the way he runs. We used to see like Reggie Bush would come off with these startling plays. How did he do that? LJ, you don't necessarily say how did he do that, but he's just as productive.
But that's what's so fun about great players, though. I mean, Tom Brady was like this. Drew Brees was like this a little bit, in the sense that the great ones make really, really hard plays look easy. They make them look like, one of the things that I talk about with quarterbacks all the time that people don't realize is a swing route to your running back is not a very easy throw. And it's one of those throws that makes you look really bad as a quarterback when you miss a swing route. Like when he's running straight away from you to the sideline and you throw the swing route. Guys like Tom Brady and Drew Brees and these great quarterbacks, they make those throws look like it's like stealing candy from a baby. And then you see a quarterback that misses it, and we all want to kill him. I'm telling you, like, that route right there takes a lot of practice. When you got a big dude who doesn't catch the ball as well as your receivers does, running full speed away from you, he's got to turn his head around. You have to throw it perfect every time. And when you don't, it looks really, really bad. But when you do it all the time, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I mean, that's what you do. You throw a swing route for 8-9 yards to the sideline, and it's not an easy throw.
With L.J. Martin on the team, that's why I keep hearing all the playbook's going to be open. Bear's going to be unleashed. He's going to be uncaged. And I'm thinking, well, wait a second here, man. Is that really true? Won't we see a lot of the same stuff that we saw last year? Because it worked, first of all. It clearly worked. They won a ton of ball games with him. And you have a kid like a Martin who he has opportunity to set the all-time rushing record at BYU. Is that what it is?
Yes, so he had 1,305 yards last year. That got him within, he's about 1,300 yards away from the all-time leading rushing record. And considering,
who is it all-time? Curtis Martin?
Curtis Martin.
I mean,
it's not Curtis Brown. It's actually
is it Harvey?
It's Algier, I believe.
Algier got it?
Yeah, Jamal took it from Harvey. I think Algier then reset it. He has a situation where he didn't play essentially the entirety of the Iowa State game last year. Remember how limited he was in the first Texas Tech game. I think he had 1,300 yards in, let's say, 10 games roughly last year.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a full 12, 13, 14 games this season. He could run away with that record.
Ah, Yock's got him in the playoff. I see what he done there.
Well, that's the hope.
He's just a good.
Isn't that the hope, though?
For them it is. Yeah,
he's
no
a
question.
really good player.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I don't know. That's my whole point. I don't know that I expect more out of Bear because the offense, as Kalani says, get me in the end zone. I don't care how you get there. Just get me there. And so why wouldn't you take it? I think we might be overestimating Bear's progression. And it's nothing against him, but it's more, especially with the receivers being a collective unknown compared to what they were last year. Now, they were still, if you look at it last year, at the beginning of this time, nobody had any idea, at least I didn't, that Kingston was going to blow up to the level that he did and was almost a 1,000-yard receiver. And we're going to pick anybody, we're going to pick Chase thinking that that's the case. And we knew, I believed Carson Ryan was going to be a good player. That wasn't a surprise. He'd been around enough to know. So I'm wondering just how the offense is going to look. I want to see Bear do what he did last year, maybe at a little higher level, not necessarily do a lot of different things compared to last year.
For the second time in my life,
you agree with me?
I do.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I mean, it's true, though. Like, you can only open up the offense so much. Yeah. There's some things that I think hold the offense back as far as, like, throwing the ball next year. And so I do think you're going to see a lot of what you saw last year.
Right, that's where I'm going.
Bear and LJ running the ball, establishing the run game, being strategic and surgical in your passing game.
Well, I think the big story to take out of this segment, as we know, that Riley Jensen has been right at least twice in his life. I think that's the most important thing.
Isn't it what they say, a broken clock is right twice a day?
Yeah, right. The squirrel finds the occasional nut.
Well played, Patrick. Well played.
All right, man. A lot of stuff they get going on next week for BYU. Utah starts Monday. Weber State's already having practice in about an hour, or no, about a little over a half hour, the bottom of the next hour. We're going to talk to Eric Kerr, the Weber State coach. Stay with us. We'll get to that. Coming up next is What's Trending. Get you caught up on all the headlines, what's going on in the world of sports right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.